We're standing here on the steps of the historic Belle Church here in Grenada, Mississippi.
And this is where Martin Luther King came when the marches were going on in Grenada during the Civil Rights era. And what did he do here, Charles?
Okay, I was 12 years old in 1966 when Dr. Martin Luther King came and spoke at this church. This church was a gathering place for the Grenada County Freedom Movement, an effort trying to solve a number of racial issues that were going on here in Grenada. One of the things was integrating the public schools. I stood in front of this church for what seemed like hours to me at that time to see this great man speak at this church. Afterwards, he lined us all up from here and down Water Street. And there was a lot of kids in there, and that's what depicted here in this picture with Dr. King, Andrew Young, Joan Baez, Ralph Abernathy, and other civil rights leaders were here leading us to that effort.
I could remember him getting myself and this other lady, Aretha Willis, and he was in the middle of us, and he put his arms around both of us and told us, come on, let's go. Come on, babies, let's go.
We marched here. You don't see me in the picture. I was way in the back of the line, but we marched here down Water Street, over up South Street to Line Street, and then over to the Lizzie Horn Elementary School to try to integrate that school that day.
Well, there was a march, and I was a part of that march, and I was only 6 years old, like I say, and I got taken to jail. But they couldn't arrest me, but they did take me down on a big black bus downtown jail.
So a lot of historical meetings, efforts took place right here at this church.
And Governor Winter was here too, right?
Governor William Winters was here indeed. As a matter of fact, the governor was instrumental in averting what some people say could have been a mass murders here. Because
serious bloodshed.
Serious bloodshed is what he says. And I believe him because of what I witnessed right here in this neighborhood myself. There were serious threats on people here had we gone out and marched at the stadium like they had planned on having a demonstration out there that night. But Governor William Winters worked behind the scenes, tirelessly I might add, to make sure that bloodshed was averted that night.
So what is the significance of the picture that Charles and I are holding? I am here as Deborah Bailey in my multiple hats in Grenada, talking to Charles Latham, wearing his multiple hats in Grenada, but we're speaking as one concerned citizen to another, essentially, one concerned human being to another. And some of the people involved in this wonderful movie project saw this photograph on the wall of Charles Latham's home after he took them on his civil rights tour of Grenada, Mississippi, which is a walking tour that's highly recommended. They asked to borrow his photograph, and somewhat mystified, Charles Latham, gentleman that he is, allowed this. What was the purpose? Well, one of the men behind the camera today took the photograph and got an autograph from Joan Baez to Charles Latham. And another man behind the camera matted it beautifully and formatted the photos in a gorgeous way. And then I got it framed. We want to give this to Charles, and I'll put my Grenada Community Foundation hat on as chairman of the Grenada Community Foundation. I, Deborah Bailey, would like to give this back to you, Charles, with the gratitude and recognition and heartfelt pride that your community feels in you and all the work that you do for the Historic Preservation Committee, for Just Plain Folks, for the 100 Black Men, for the Eagles, for the children of Grenada, and my list has not really even begun. So Charles, this comes from us, but with the thanks of a much broader group of people.
Deborah, thank you so very much. I am greatly, deeply humbled by this. I do appreciate it. I got to tell you, You know, I talk a lot, but right now I'm sort of dried up for words because it's emotional for me to receive this picture and what this picture means to me and my dedication to trying to make our community better. A lot of people sometimes, you know, I guess they're mystified or confused why I work toward recognizing the civil rights movement here in Grenada. Dr. King profoundly affected my life. At the age of 12, I learned a lot from Dr. King. I learned that when he presented himself, he was in a suit and he was dressed and he intelligently articulated his thoughts. I believe that the key to our success is education. We need to educate our folks. We need to teach our young kids how to emulate someone like Dr. King. And that is what motivates me, to make sure that all the heroes, like young Grace Lemon and Althea Willis, and hundreds of other young kids who laid their lives on the line at a very, very young, tender age, some as young as 6, 7 years old, to be subject to dog attacks, tear gas, all kind of stuff just for the basic human rights. And I'm going to live my whole life and dedicate myself to ensuring that those heroes are recognized and appreciated. And I thank you, Deborah, for this. And this will be the first one in my civil rights collection. I thank you so very much. I thank all the folks who were behind this. Greg and Brian, you were truly two gentlemen that I met, and I consider you to be lifelong friends. And I thank you. I thank you guys so very much.